Good morning, traders. What's going on, everybody? How's it going? So good morning to everybody. Thanks for tuning in to today's pre-market watch list. One second. So yesterday's watch list didn't work out as intended, which I guess is okay. IQ ended up being a short play after it had a little bit of a pop. Tesla just got hammered. So yesterday was a little all over the place, but it was good. I was able to end the day up about $3,000, so I was happy about that. What I will mention is today is going to be another pretty good day. We are already seeing volatility, a lot of earning plays, lots of stuff to watch this morning. So there should be a pretty active trading day today. I know a lot of you are probably wondering about the stock TORC, so we will cover TORC. Specifically, all the stocks in that headline are kind of the main ones I'm focusing on. I forgot to mention General Motors, which is GM, which I'll also talk about too. So other than that, we're going I'm sorry, Joey, that's rough. Looking back now, you're probably kicking yourself, but you can't predict the future 100% of the time, all right? So we're going to go ahead, start sharing the screen, get started here. Put this one up like that. All right, so first one here I might as well talk about since it's on the screen is Boeing. So Boeing is a $340 stock currently. They had earnings this morning. As you can see, Boeing has dropped from the price of $360 all the way down to a low of $340 this morning. It's currently sitting at $344. So Boeing, this is a higher price stock. It doesn't usually have a ton. It trades pretty good volume, especially in the morning. So pretty sure we're going to see a really active morning on Boeing. Now, I do understand that it is a $300 stock. So for some of you, this may not be something you want to trade in. That's completely understandable. Do know that Boeing usually has a spread of about 30 cents a share too. So the spread can be a little bit challenging on this one as well. But let's talk about it. So if you go and look at let me clear these off. If you go and look here at a 1-year chart, the price of Boeing dropped down to, again, remember I said the price dropped to $340 this morning. So if the price dropped to $340, you can see that there has been a consolidation all around the 340 zone, right? So the 340 zone is right in the middle. So if I were to take kind of, I'll do a white line here, right? 340 is right here. This white line on the chart, that's 340, okay? And as you can see, the price of Boeing for quite a while has kind of fluctuated up and down over that 340 price point. So we've seen it go up and over, down below, up and over, down below. So that's kind of the midway point, right? If you look at Boeing altogether, for the past, 6 months or so, it has been, it's been fluctuating, right? It's really just been fluctuating in this zone, right? We've been going up and over. So this whole rally point where we've been rallying high to low, high to low, high to low, it's all been right around the 340s. We've been over, we've been under, we've been over, we've been under. So it doesn't surprise me that the price this morning pre-market dropped down to 340 and then bounced, because 340 is kind of the midway point of this 6-month back and forth rally. All right. But considering Boeing does have kind of a nice looking downtrend with earnings today, I will take a look at NVRO. It has crossed my mind. So it does hover around this 340 price. Now, with that being said, I think it's very possible today that we might even see Boeing touch here at lows of what would this be? That's 317. So 320, that'd be like 330. It's possible to see Boeing as low as 330s, maybe even 320, but that would be stretching it. I don't think we're going to see 320s on Boeing today, but I do think if Boeing does continue down in this manner, we could see it back to the 340 price point and maybe just a little bit below 340 towards like 335. That is possible, but the only way we're going to get it that low on the day is we first need to have it pop up. It really needs to do something like this, right? It's trending down. What we really need to see is it kind of pop like this and then roll back over, right? So what I do think is in the morning, we're probably going to see, or when the bell rings, we're probably going to see Boeing go through like a little bit of a squeeze. This is the way I always think on the gap downs. I initially always want to see a spike and then it roll over and drop. And the reason for that is, a lot of people shorted Boeing this morning. A lot of people have been shorting it. So at the opening bell, some of those people shorting will look to get a little bit of a cover pop. And then you might also mix that idea that there's some people that might come in and try and dip buy Boeing right in the morning. So I would expect to see maybe a little bit of a green candle or a pop up. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something like this, where we maybe go green 1 candle, maybe green 2 candles, and then from there we start going red, right, like this, and then breaking below candle lows, right? So that's kind of what I would like to see happen on Boeing. There's no guarantee, but we are going to be looking to play Boeing short. The first target I would have on Boeing would be down here at the price of 340, right? This pre-market low would be the first target price. And then we'll most likely bounce off that. If Boeing does drop down, we'll probably see it bounce off 340 and then have a secondary attempt at reshorting for the breakdown of 340. All right. So understand that. If Boeing does drop today, we'll probably see it drop to 340, bounce, and then go back and retest the 340. All right. Again, why would you see that? Why would you see Boeing drop to 340, bounce, and then come back and then retest it? It's not because the pre-market low is necessarily here. It is, but what's going to happen is if a bunch of people get in short in the morning, their first target is going to be 340. And if their first target's 340, all the short sellers will start, all the short sellers are going to start buying up at 340, which will cause the bounce. And then anybody who missed the initial short in the morning, right at the bell, will then look to get in on the first pullback to reshort in attempt to break 340. And if it does break 340, then you'll have a panic sell, and we should see it drop about another $2 to $3 a share or something. All right. So watching Boeing short today. All right, next one on the list I will talk about will be TORC. So TORC, the stock that went from $8 this morning to a high of 27, pulled back, and now it's trickling up. So currently, right now, this stock is in a bullish pennant like that. So right around 8:55. So basically, any time from right now until 8:55. This right here, this area is the key determining area of what happens next. All right. This is what's going to determine it. Either the stock is going to break to the upside out of the bullish pennant, or it's going to break to the downside out of the bullish pennant. If it breaks down, the likelihood, let me repeat that. If the stock breaks to the downside out of the bullish pennant, then people are going to start panic selling, and they're going to get a little bit nervous, and the likelihood of TORC having a green bullish day after the open is going to be less likely. But if it can break to the upside out of the bullish pennant, the likelihood of it having a good green day increases significantly. On a side note, I will tell you that for the past 4 or 5 months, maybe, any stock that has done this pre-market, popped up this big, and gone through this pattern have all failed. None of them have performed good. So even though we are into a bullish pennant right now that's starting to get weaker and weaker and weaker and looks like it's going to break down, even though that's happening, right, there has yet to be a stock that has looked like this for the past couple months to actually perform well at the open and run, okay? They have all failed terribly. They'll get to open, they'll pop up, and then they'll get shorted hard. So for any of you guys out there thinking of trading TORC, do understand that it is currently in a bullish setup. But for the past 4 to 5 months, every time we've had a stock in this similar pattern in trading this very similar, they have all failed terribly. So do not trade TORC right at the open, okay? Do not get fear of missing out. Do not get FOMO thinking this thing is just going to pop, squeeze, and run like crazy out of the gates. If it does and you miss it, so be it. I would rather miss a trade than be on the losing side of a monster like this. This stock has a strong possibility of dropping $2, $3, $4 a share immediately out of the gates. The likelihood that we see this stock, right? The likelihood we see the stock go like this and drop 4 points is not far-fetched. It's very likely. There's a strong possibility that if this doesn't go higher, it will immediately sink $4 or $5 a share. Because what's going to happen is everybody that does not know better, okay? For all the new traders out there, for anybody who's not been trading for a long time, for anybody who does not understand the risks involved with trading a monster gap up like this, will most likely get shaked out right in the beginning of the day. If this opens up and starts to go green, okay, if the stock opens up and starts to go green, something like this, they'll all start buying it. And if for whatever reason they run into a bunch of hidden sellers, those sellers are going to smash the price down, and all those newer traders and all the people who bought on the first 1 to 2 minutes of opening bell, they will all start to panic sell, and they will increase the panic drop, and this thing could easily drop like crazy. So if you're going to trade this, you're better off waiting for the opening bell, waiting at least probably waiting 4 minutes, a couple minutes, right? Maybe 5-10 minutes to figure out what it really wants to do. If this stock wants to go higher, it will tell you, because it will squeeze and then it will pull back and then it will hover and then it will go again. Okay. So what you might as well do on TORC, rather than jumping the gun, is you might as well wait for it to pop up and pull back. If it can successfully hold the first pullback, then the chances of it wanting to go higher increase by 80% or maybe 70%. I don't actually know the statistics, but seriously, if you wait until at least the first pullback, and the first pullback can hold successfully, the likelihood of it going higher increases significantly. But if it pops up and it starts pulling back and it keeps pulling back and it keeps pulling back and it keeps pulling back, that's when you know that this thing runs a strong risk of dumping out. Okay. That's why you should be very careful with trading this. Now, I know that they have received very good news about positive phase 2 trials with whatever it is that they do. So they do have some really, really strong news. But let me point it out this way. All right. Put it this way. The stock is currently up 171% today. Imagine any trader who has been in the stock for a couple weeks. They're currently sitting up close to 100 to 170% today. For them not to sell at open would be pretty stupid. I would sell. I would at least sell some, right? So the likelihood of it crashing, it's pretty strong, okay? And every time we go over a stock like this, and I tell everybody to watch out at the open because it will most likely crash. It usually ends up crashing. So play the idea short bias first until it can prove that it wants to stay up. Okay. Okay, that is that. So let me 1 second. Let's see. Play carry on the right. Oh, 1 second. 1 second. I'll talk about the SPY here in just a little bit. Next one on the list is IRBT, iRobot. So, anyways, iRobot just found out that Will Smith will no longer be doing a sequel, and their stock's starting to dump. Unless you've seen the movie, you wouldn't understand the joke behind that comment. So sorry if you don't understand it. But Will Smith denied iRobot of a sequel, and now their stock is plummeting. Now, with that being said, they also had earnings today. All right. So, okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm having too much fun with myself. All right. So iRobot, they had earnings. They went from 70 to a high of 86 this morning, and now they're obviously pulling back, and you can see that they are having a slight downtrend here. Now I didn't have the time to go over the actual ins and outs of the earnings, but I can assure you, based on what's happening right now, it looks like a bullish stock, right? It had a massive gap up. We are pulling back. But that makes sense. The stock just ripped from 70 to 86 overnight. To think that there isn't going to be a pullback is naive. Of course there's going to be a pullback. This thing just ripped $16 a share overnight. I would probably sell some of my shares too. Okay? So we'll see, right? So the idea here is if you're going to play this long, which I am a little bit long bias on it for right now, is, hold on 1 second, is this, right? So you can see it's starting to pull back. The idea is that we would like to see it hold some of these levels. You can see here pre-market, it's currently holding like right around this level. You may not notice it, but in after hours trading, it popped up and had a slight pullback right there. And that's what's currently holding support today. So if this level can hold support, then I would look to long the stock, because what's going to happen is there's a strong chance there's a lot of people that are going to look to short this because it's up so big, right? Because it's up so big, there's a lot of people that would look to short this down. And if the short fails, they're going to all squeeze off this level and it should pop. And that's that's what I'm banking on. I'm banking on it holding support over $80 and then looking to take it long today on that $80 price point. All right. So yeah, that's IRBT. So watch IRBT. And then if you also look at the yearly chart on 1 second, I'm just double checking here. Now, what I'm actually seeing, you know what? I might switch bias here a little bit. I'm keeping an open end because this is the first time I looked at the daily chart on IRBT. I didn't have an enormous amount of time because there's so many stocks today. But I will say this. I think my thesis was originally wrong, long bias. I might have to flip towards short bias. And the reason being is for the past couple earnings, it's popped up and it's dropped. Every time it's had earnings for the past, looks like past 3 times. Well, it was a gap down, it went red. Maybe not. But it's interesting because this one right here, this earnings was actually a gap up that ended up failing. And then if you come over here to the next earnings, they had a gap down. Okay, that makes sense. This one knows is basic. So based on the previous chart history, this actually might fail this gap up, and it might actually come crashing down. But I'll still have the same bias. If this can hold above $80, I'm going to look to long it. But if it starts breaking down $80, then I'll be more short bias on it. All right. So watching IRBT both long and short. Short for me would be below the $80 mark. Long if it can stay over $80. Now we have Tesla. I'm just going to give Tesla a brief mention. I'm not crazy about it. Just going to give it a brief mention. It had a massive red day, but if you look at this 5-day chart, it looks pretty weak, right? Downtrend, downtrend, downtrend. If it can break below this 292 price point, we might see a panic sell. But if it can break over this trend line that it's provided from the last couple of days, we might see an early morning pop. So basically, watch what I'm about to draw. We have support, support, support. If support breaks, there might be a panic sell. If it doesn't break and it squeezes over this trend line, we might get a pop. Okay, so play it one of two ways: over the trend line long, below the 290, 255 support short. All right, and then I'll do a quick mention here on Chron because I've seen this message a couple times for a couple people. So Chron is starting to look very bearish at this current moment in time. Well, I don't want to say very bearish. It's still holding above the 200 moving average. And as I stated from like 2 months ago, I said specifically to watch Chron long only, and this is only, I said, start watching it long only if it can break over the trend line and hold support above that trend line, then watch it long. And it has yet not broken that trend line, successfully held above that trend line. Okay. All it's done is a quick pop to the trend line, fail. Pop a little over the trend line, fail. Pop to the trend line, fail. Okay. And now it's currently testing the downward trend or upward trend line support. It's still, note, it's still above the 200 moving average. This 200 moving average is a strong yearly support. And once and if Chron breaks below the purple line, then you'll probably start seeing a good sell-off. But until then, it's still technically a long-term bullish outlook. If any stock is trading above its 200 moving average on a daily chart, it's technically still seen as a bullish stock. Okay. But you're right. There is not a lot of momentum there. Okay. So for me, I would still be neutral on Chron. For the past 2 months, all I've said is be neutral on Chron. The significant move will take place right at the end of this thing, right at the end of this channel. Either it's going to break down or it's going to break up. And so again, I've been neutral on Chron for the past 2 months and have made no trades on it because it has not shown me what I want to see. All right. I trade on a 1 minute time frame. Now, I will mention looking at the SPY. So the SPY has been on a good run. A lot of gaps in the chart. So yeah, SPY's been on a good run. Will it have a red day? You know, I don't know for sure. What I can say is that yesterday, if you look at yesterday's, this is a pretty bearish looking chart from yesterday. This is the first time we've had a really bearish looking chart on the SPY over the course of like weeks. Now, I will say this, that every time it's dipped, it's got bought right back up. So I wouldn't necessarily be short bias, I wouldn't necessarily think it's going to have a red day yet. I think it needs to retest. I think it wants to try and retest the 282 mark before giving up. Right now, it's holding a support right at about 281, 280s, which is a previous high. So right now, I currently think it doesn't want to drop. I actually think this is going to be a slight pullback before we push higher. I will mention this. When this thing gets back to the price of 286, or when the market gets back up to its previous high, I am going to nail a short position. Everybody is thinking that, okay? The whole world is thinking short the market when it gets back to the price of 286, without a doubt. Everyone's thinking that. So I'm going to do that. All right. So anywho. Let's see what else we got going on. Okay, cool. So that's all I have for you guys today. So thank you guys again for tuning in. As always, I appreciate it. Now, I hope that I'm more famous in CNBC. I did get some new, excuse me. I did get some a new camera, a new microphone, a backdrop. So when I finally get the guts to learn a little bit more about video editing, there should be some way cooler videos coming out for you guys. That's something that I've always wanted to get into. It's just kind of one of those things where it's still new to me, and I have yet to take that leap of faith into a new art. And so that's kind of it. I can do a little video editing, but not a ton. And it, for me, it takes a long time to do it. So anywho, I did get some new equipment. I should, in the near future, be having some more professional videos come out, because if you notice, most of my videos are unscripted. I do not stop. I continuously talk. I don't edit any videos. It's just all straight through, right? And so it would be nice for me to have a mix of some of those videos in there that have cut out some of the boring parts and things like that. Exactly. Fancy video is okay, but topic is more important. So they're always going to be full of information, as I do here. But it would be nice to kind of play around in that side of things. With that being said, that's all I got for you guys. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning for another day. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. We have Facebook earnings coming out after hours today. So that should be in play tomorrow morning. So a lot of interesting things coming. Other than that, guys, I will see you all tomorrow. If not, maybe a video today. Who knows, right? So I'll catch you guys all tomorrow. I'll see you then. And other than that, stay green, take care. Don't get FOMO. Don't get greedy. Be patient. All those good things. All right, guys. I don't have the time to go over every single thing, but Daniel, I can help you if you would like to direct message me. There's nothing in our, so Daniel, there's nothing in our current course for swing trading. That is something that we're going to implement in the future. And I've been saying it for a long time. It's just hard for me to get to everything. My daily, and so my daily routine is, getting up at like 6 o'clock, 6:30. Then I come in and I'm on live in our private group from 7:30 to 8:30. And then at 8:30, I get on live with you guys for another 30 minutes. And then I go back to the private group, and then we go live there from 9 until 11. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we go straight from 9 to 11 right into a group class for an hour too. So my days are spent 5 hours every morning talking about stocks, analyzing charts, and asking or answering questions. So it does get a little mentally draining. So swing trading, options trading, and a few other things that I would like to add to the course have been taking a lot longer than I would like to, because just of the busy schedule. So to answer your question fully, we don't currently have a section in our course for swing trading specifically, but if you were to join, obviously you can always direct message me and we can kind of go like one-on-one, and I can answer your questions about swing trading. I don't swing trade that often, but I know basically everything about swing trading. I'm just more of a day trader, and personally, we also have a few moderators that do a lot of swing trading, so you can also talk to them. So our course is $30 a month. You get a whole, our chat room and course is $30 a month. You get a whole course that's ongoing, and it's getting updated, as time goes on. So there's always new and fresh content on there. And then of course you get a live chat room like this kind of, where we do trading live. You also get presented trade ideas scanners. So you get to see basically stock alerts through scanners in real time. So then rather than you having to take the time to make scanners or spend money on scanners, we present them for you. So we got like a high-a-day momentum scanner that tells us of all the penny stocks popping up. And then we have Pre-market scanners that tell you all the good pre-market stocks. And then we have a few reversal scanners that tell you when stocks are about to bounce or drop. And then we have a parabolic scanner, which tells you when stocks are just moving like crazy. So we have a lot of cool features in the chat room that are primarily there for you guys to take advantage of for $30 a month. Because you can't find a service that for one, you can't find a service that has a course, has classes 2 times a week, has a chat room, has a live trading room, 4 moderators, watch lists, and scanners for $30 a month. It's just, there is nothing, right? And that was the way I made it, is the idea that the internet, and here's the thing, the internet is such a cost-effective approach to business that when you go out there and you see someone charging upwards of a couple $100 for just one single thing, or $1,000, just know that once the course is created, it takes 0 cost to keep it up. Once it's made, it's done, and it's just like reoccurring, right? So the internet allows me to provide it at a low cost. So whenever you go and see a high cost thing, just know that once it's made, it costs them $0 for the keep up, unless they do some editing to it, right? So that's kind of the beauty of the internet, right? Is that it's so possible to keep things cost effective, and we just slam you with so much information. You will be overwhelmed if you guys join. I will tell you right now, you might be a little overwhelmed because there's going to be so much information thrown at you. I mean, you're going to get a whole course, and then you're going to have a link to a chat room, and then you'll have a link to a separate room that's our live room, and then you're going to be seeing watch lists like crazy. And there's just so much information flow that at first you're going to be like, holy hell, what did I get myself into? But if you just settle down and just take it slow, you'll start to get the rhythm of how we work as a team. And then from there, it's kind of smooth sailing, I would say. So other than that, that's enough for me. I'm not trying to promote things like crazy to you guys. But again, if you have more questions about the course, you can get at me on Facebook. You can join our free chat room where you can then direct message me privately. That is in the description of the video. So always make sure to hit the information of the video, and that will show you the link to the course where you can sign up. It will have the link to our chat room, stock chat room, of course. You can hang out in the free section, completely free, or if you wanted to at some point, if you like the feel of our chat room, you could upgrade to premium. And then you can join our Facebook group, but everything down there is how you stay in touch with me on more of a personal and private base, right? I know. So maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I just have a good time doing what I do. So other than that, I do got to go. I got to get back to the private group. Other than that, guys, take care. Be smart today. Don't get FOMO. The trading day exists every day, right? There's week after week after week. So you don't have to worry about missing something because tomorrow will happen, right? So take care, guys, and I will see you guys all tomorrow.